all the tracks so we can have the full setup. 5 minutes, we should have some train tracks. Or not train tracks, we should have train.
All right, well, we are at the point of reassembly. I'm super happy. Now, I want to talk about this a little bit. This color came out different than I thought it would be. I thought, honestly, it would have more maybe silver metal flake in it. And then, you know, just with some of the color flakes added, it's definitely a lot more color than anything. It still looks really cool. It's just a little bit different than what I thought. It honestly would have been cool to put some silver flake down first and then put this on top of it. But it is what it is. It still looks really cool, especially in different sunlight and different light angles. This thing pretty much shoots every color of the rainbow at you. So that's awesome. As far as the clear coat, I'm not too happy with it. I only had one can. I should have got another can. So there's not as much clear on it as I wanted there to be. So I had to be really careful with wet sanding. I kind of rushed this whole project. I should have let this thing sit for a minimum of 2.5, 3 weeks before I even touched it, honestly, just to make sure the clear shrank and cured fully. And yeah, what happened is basically I wet sanded it, and then everything, I wet sanded it and buffed it, and then it kind of, shrank and cured more. So there's some imperfections showing more around the bridge and the area of the knobs and everything. But all that's kind of going to be covered, so I'm not too worried about it. But being that I did rush it, I can't blame anything but myself. But it still looks really good, and I'm going to run with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the neck on first. Then we're going to start adding some of these new parts on, and I'm really excited. So let's get going here. All right, guys, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of this project. I am super pleased with how this thing came out. Definitely didn't go without its setbacks, but we'll talk about that in a second. But overall, this thing looks absolutely awesome. This whole rainbow flake thing is pretty wild, especially in different lighting and in the sun mostly. It just looks crazy. I really thought there'd be maybe more silver flake in there, and then just, you know, the colored flakes mixed with it. But when you put it over the black, it's kind of more of like a color shift where it shifts every different color of the rainbow. I think you could definitely get away with putting this over silver. I did a little test out in the shop, and the flakes are kind of more separated and pronounced. But when you do it over a black, it definitely turns it into more of a color shift. But I'm okay with that. I think it looks awesome. Clear coat wise, it came out really, really good. There are some flaws, mostly due to me being impatient. I painted this when it was still pretty cold out. It's been a while now, actually. It's finally starting to warm up, but back when I did clear coat this, it was still pretty cold, so I had to try to heat the shop up as long as I could, and then turn the heat off when I sprayed, and then suck all the fumes out, and then turn the heater back on. So it was just a process, and it just wasn't the proper temperature to be clear coating in, let alone painting. And yeah, it is what it is. It's just taking a little bit longer to cure. It's hard and it's dry. I can touch it and play it and everything, but if I was to really dig at it, it would leave a mark. And yeah, I could just tell it's not 100% cured. But I'm probably going to go, you know, put it on a stand, let it sit out in the sun for a while, and see if we can suck all those solvents out of it and just get it cured the rest of the way. But super happy with how it looks. Let's talk about these parts that we put on. We did the Wilkinson bridge, the hip shot locking tutors. I put 2 gold knobs on with abalone tops. I put this little gold switch tip on. We ended up running the wooden pickguard with the little flaming veneer on there and some gold screws. I was kind of back and forth. I was going to maybe put some gold foil vinyl on the original pickguard, and I thought maybe a gold pickguard would look good, but the wooden one looks really, really good, I think. So once I put that on, it kind of made up my mind. I painted the neck pickup black to match the bridge pickup. This is the same pickup that we installed. If you want to watch that video, I will put the link up here, and you can go watch it and see how we installed it. And there's a sound demo and everything. I'm not going to do a standalone sound demo in this video just because it's not really necessary. Honestly, you've already heard what this thing sounds like, and it doesn't sound any different just because we painted it. So, but really happy with the way it looks. Now these hip shot locking tutors are awesome. They are staggered. They're not really staggered enough. I didn't think I would have to run a string tree, and just once I got everything on, the angle, you know, really just wasn't aggressive enough. So I put the string tree back on there, just on the B&E string, just so we could, you know, it would be proper, and it still works out well. And one thing I did do is I've had these like translucent perloid tuning keys, and I don't even know what they would be considered. They're like a maroonish, brownish, you know, see-through. I don't even know what they call it, but it looks really, really good with the gold, and it definitely kind of gives it like a fancy look. I pulled these off of a Squier that I picked up a couple weeks ago, and yeah, it looks really, really good. I'm super happy with these tutors so far. The fact that I didn't have to drill any new holes in the back because they come with these universal mounting plates that basically stop the tutors from turning, and then once you tighten the nuts, these things aren't going nowhere. It's basically so if you have like an expensive guitar that you don't want to drill holes into, it, you know, kind of kiboshes that, and it's really, really cool. So super happy about that. I only had to fill one hole just because it was sticking out here, so I, you know, filled that in with a little wooden peg and took care of that with no problem. My only complaint with these tutors are usually with locking tuners, you'll have like the main hole going through the peg, and then there'll kind of be like a divot around it, just so it kind of makes the angle less aggressive when, you know, the string wraps around it. And I'm noticing that, I mean, these are some really beefy strings. Right now I have 72s on here, and it's just kind of like separating the coil or the winding on the string. So I think if this angle was a little bit softer, it really wouldn't do that. I don't think it's gonna, you know, unwind the string or anything or pop the string, but it's just something I noticed, so I figured I'd tell you. But overall, they seem to be working really good. They're holding tuning really well, and yeah, I just honestly love the way they look with these tuning keys that I put on there. I kept the stock nut, nothing wrong with that. I put a gold backplate on. I used some plastic paint to paint the electronics cover here. I did some gold strap buttons, and overall with the gold and this paint job, I think it just looks really good. Now, I hate maintaining gold because, you know, just sweating on it and your acids in your hand and your or acids in your sweat and everything, it kind of just, after a while, the gold plating kind of wears down and it's just a pain in the butt. So I try to stay away from gold, but for this project, I just thought it was necessary. I think it looks really, really cool. So hopefully it lasts. The Wilkinson bridge mounted up really good, and no really complaints with that thing at all. So I'm pretty happy. These things are, I think this was like 25 bucks. And the quality seems to be really good. Like the height adjustments on the saddles seemed fine. None of them were stripped or gunky or anything like that. So I'm pretty impressed with these Wilkinson bridges for the price that they are. But overall, super happy with this, how this thing turned out. And yeah, I'm going to keep jamming away on it. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was a fun project for sure. Tried to keep it down to as little episodes as possible, and we did it in 2, so that's awesome. If we did it in 1, it would have been like 45 minutes long, so it ended up being 2, but that's better than, I think I used to do, like, I used to stretch them out into like 8 episodes, so 2 is better than 8 in my book. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, be a good person, go paint your guitar, and we will see you in the next video.